Collier or Clayton? Who starts at point guard for the Utah Jazz? Or could it be someone else? Next on Locked on Jazz. Bum 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 bum.
You are Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network. Your team every day.
How are you? I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. This is Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz, giving you insight, expertise, geeky numbers, and hopefully making it way better to be a Jazz fan each and every day. Thanks so much for making Locked on Jazz your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all podcasting apps. We are also free and available on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for making Locked on Jazz your first listen of the day. Thank you for being an everydayer. And thank you for letting a little kid's dream live. 2009, on this day, I got up on a riser at the Zions Bank Basketball Center, and I got announced as the radio announcer of the Utah Jazz. 16 years ago today, I was announced as one of the kids who literally, I think if you're an everydayer, you might have heard this story. We used to drive the old Wasatch Boulevard. I lived in California. My dad was in business here. He commuted back and forth. And the little kid in me used to say to my dad, I want to be that guy listening to Hot Rod Hundley when I was, we're not sure, anywhere from 9 to 11. And then that's what this little kid's dream was. I used to run around the house every day as a little kid, screaming and yelling, Holy Toledo, which was Bill King, the then Warriors, A's, and Raiders announcer. That was my childhood hero as much as Hot Rod. And I went to college and kind of got distracted. My dad put me back on path at one point in time. But I'm the little kid who gets to do exactly what he dreamed of doing, and maybe even better than that. I'm the little kid who gets to dream of everything he ever wanted to do, and it's been as good as I ever dreamed of it, if not better. And that is largely because of Jazz Nation and how amazing all of you are. So thank you. So 16 years ago today, I got up on a little thing, and my then 6-year-old and 4-year-old kids who are now 22 and 20. So we've all grown up together and watched them. You've experienced probably their stories more than you've ever wanted. We've all done this together. So just thank you. Super day. Always incredibly grateful for this opportunity and feel very, very fortunate to be one of these people who got to live their dream every day. And hopefully bring that energy and that excitement toward it every day when you're listening and you know exactly that's how I feel. I do laugh. So a lot of times parents will ask me, can you talk to my kid about this? And I always, like, one of the things I say is, well, I had no plan B. I don't know what else I would have done. I had no plan B. I mean, I was going to be a sports talk show host, I guess, if I never got anywhere with this. But really had no plan B outside of those two things. I'm not sure that's what parents want me to be telling their kids. All right, let's do it. Who starts at point guard this year? So the easy answer is that it's got to be Isaiah Collier, right? Isaiah Collier last year started as the Jazz point guard for most of the season. But I'll tell you what, I don't think anyone earned a spot last year that guarantees them a spot this year. Maybe Lowry, maybe Walker. But I don't think that Isaiah Collier, by starting 46 games last year on a team that didn't win very often, and maybe this year's won't either, has earned himself a starting spot. I think he goes to camp, and that's what's going to be so awesome about camp when it breaks officially, I think September 29th or 30th, but they're going to all get in here post Labor Day. That's how it works. And boy, it's going to be awesome because Walter Clayton Jr., I don't know why I keep calling him Will Clayton. Walter Clayton Jr. and Isaiah Collier are going to battle for this spot. It's a really interesting mix because on one level you'd say, well, Collier certainly understands Will Hardy, he understands the systems. He is, he's experienced. He played 71 games last year. He did notch nearly 1,800 minutes, which is a lot for a rookie. On the other end, Walter Clayton Jr. is older. Certainly knowing the NBA versus knowing college is totally different. But Walter Clayton Jr. has probably played as much point guard in some ways by playing 4 years of college. He's a year and a half older. He's 2 school years ahead of Isaiah Collier. He played 139 college games. So in the extra year that 2 years, he played an extra 75 college games, started an extra 75 college games. And I don't know if that's 2 years. Collier's collegiate record, Isaiah Collier at USC only played 27 games. So since embarking upon college, which was for Isaiah Collier 2 years ago, Isaiah Collier has played about 100 basketball games. Since Walter Clayton Jr. embarked upon college, he's played 139. So who is more experienced? I don't know if I think the March Madness and all that stuff matters, but 2 NCAA tournament runs and big plays gives you a little something. Isaiah's certainly bigger. Walter certainly is going to be able to shoot better. He better. His forte coming in is he can shoot, and the other areas are the areas he's got to work on. Isaiah's forte coming in was speed, crossover, getting the rim, and not shooting 25% from three. The interesting thing to me about these two and trying to figure out who starts and who gets these minutes, and we're going to have the comment from Will Hardy, like it doesn't matter who starts. It's still a fascinating first part of like this development for both these guys is this preseason battle to see who gets there. Now, you can decide, well, starting's not that important. On the other end, the battle to see who wins it, earns it, goes in and day out of training camp is a huge part of the development we're talking about with these young players. So this is pretty awesome. If you go to college, I thought this was interesting, and you compare them at the same stage, right? Because Clayton's older. So in Walter's rookie year, he only starts 4 games at Iona. He only plays 16 minutes, and he only shoots 43% and 36% from three. In his second year at Iona, he averages 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. He shoots 43% from three that year. If Isaiah Collier, instead of being with the Jazz last year, had been at USC, don't you think he would have annihilated college basketball? Because his rookie year, he averages 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists, and a steal and a half. He didn't shoot. He shot fine, 34%. But if he suddenly were able to have gone back to USC, similar to what Clayton did, and play another year at USC, I'm guessing he would have averaged 20 points a game, 6, 7 assists, maybe 3 rebounds, and been one of the dominant players of college basketball last year. And so when you start to compare the two of them and you get super excited about, rightfully so, about Clayton and what he might be able to do, and you start to take, well, look at what he did in college. He averaged 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. He shot 39% from three. That's great. What would Isaiah Collier have done if he played 3 more years of college basketball? He would have killed the place. But this battle is going to be interesting. So I think there's a little bit of an instinct, honestly, from watching Summer League of fans. One, it's the new flavor is always the most exciting. I'm boring. I had chocolate, vanilla, and raspberry gelato last night for dessert. Like 3, we shared. Don't worry, it wasn't me just having all 3 flavors. But like there was, all sorts of exoticness. I'm kind of boring. So I'll take the chocolate, vanilla, and raspberry and call it perfect. What I think is interesting here is that the first reason why you would give Isaiah Collier the start was, well, he's got the experience to work with Will Hardy for a year. Okay, I'm not sure he does have the experience. The reason I think you'll hear people say that they want Will Clayton to start is because he can shoot it better and look how dominant he was. And he's actually, I'm not, if Isaiah Collier had the same amount of time in college, he'd be killing people. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be an issue. Does Walter Clayton Jr., who seemingly, according to Scott Morrison, came into summer camp and kind of immediately was leading, understand the offense, play it well enough? 2, I think there's a real question of whether Clayton can handle pressure. I didn't think he was great in summer league of handling pressure, and he kind of openly admitted that. The next one is whether Collier can shoot at all, right? This was not a great summer league numbers for Isaiah Collier shooting wise. In fact, if there's anything maybe that was disappointing for Isaiah Collier, it was probably that. The overall shooting numbers for him in this whole series was not what I think you wanted it to be. That was probably maybe the disappointing aspect of all of it, is that he just did not shoot it at the level you would have wanted him to. And so he's got to shoot it. I mean, there was a play, I think I've mentioned already in Summer League, where he gets a pick from Songo at the elbow and they go under. You can't be doing that. The wild card here is there could be a moment here where it's so abundantly clear to Will Hardy that Keyonte George and Bryce Sensabaugh are the two best guards on this roster, that he starts Keyonte again as the point guard. They've done it a lot. It may not be best for Keyonte. He's going to be a combo guard. But he's probably the best player. Of the five guards, Collier, Clayton, George, Sensabaugh, and Cody Williams, he's the best of the five players. So he'll start. I still think he'll start. We'll talk about it this week. We'll do a day on why I'm still bullish on Keyonte George. And then the second best player is probably Bryce Sensabaugh. So the wild card in this whole Collier versus Clayton kind of concept, which I think is super interesting and be really fun, could be neither. Cody Williams has completed a fabulous summer league. We'll talk about it next on Locked on Jazz. Monday edition of Locked on Jazz is brought to you by Murdoch Chevy. Located in Woods Cross, also in Logan. The Murdoch family's been in Utah for nearly 100 years. Like they're having like their 100th birthday somehow. They went from 80 to 100. I was wrong, I guess. It's craziness. It's craziness. Congratulations to the Murdochs for 100 years in Utah. Wow. Chevy, Americana, the Silverado truck, kick ass. The Colorado truck, zipping around doing whatever you need it to do. And the lineup of SUVs, absolutely fabulous. You can get it all at Murdoch Chevy, located in Woods Cross and in Logan. If you're going to stop by, let's get you the VIP treatment you deserve as a Locked on Jazz listener. So email me first at dlock09@gmail.com. We'll get you set up so when you walk there, will be somebody waiting for you. You'll get that treatment. You don't have to deal with walking into the dealership and wondering who is this the good guy? Do I not? No, we'll have it all taken care of for you. It's all at Murdoch Chevy, located in Woods Cross and in Logan. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. Summer action is underway, and it's a great opportunity for you to get in the game with FanDuel. Summer sports full swing. Did you get into the British Open action? Are you playing with the Tour de France? That would be high level. FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. Another Dodger lost last night. Did you play on that? Oh, yes, I'm loving that. You've already followed on the action. Why not make it more thrilling? Using FanDuel to track your favorite matchups. The app keeps it fresh with new daily promos, fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast payouts, and makes every regular season game feel like a much-watched event. Whether it's placing same-game parlays, watching bets ride into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like you're part of the action. New to FanDuel, new customers can get $5 for just $5 bet. Get a $150 bonus bet if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today and visit FanDuel.com to get started. It's FanDuel.com. Thanks so much for making Locked on Jazz your first listen of the day. You're fabulous. All right. Cody Williams has wrapped up his summer league. The Jazz have wrapped up summer league. All these guys get a break. I'm going to guess the youngsters actually leave. They've been here. They were here for like 6-7 weeks prior. And I'm going to guess they're all going to head out. And then the way it usually works is that college and pro players get together in various cities and have a run, be it LA, Miami. There's good runs kind of everywhere. Atlanta's got some great ones. And then the college kids go back to college in September, and the pro guys don't have anyone to run with. So then the pro guys go back to their pro city, and then they get runs in their gym. That's generally the way this works. I don't know if it's going to be different this year, but that's kind of how it has worked traditionally. So I'd suspect most of these guys come right back around Labor Day. At that point, they're probably spending 4 days a week here, leaving, getting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off to go back home, and coming Monday through Thursday. And then eventually they start to hang. And then training camp, I assume, will open either that Monday or Tuesday. Not that I'm excited for this and trying to get ready, the 29th or 30th. I suspect our first preseason games will be the 6th through the 10th, and with the arena renovation going on, maybe road, and then home the next week. And then NBA opening season, I think, is October 21st. We would probably open the 22nd or 23rd, having being a non-marquee team. Okay, not that I've looked at this recently or anything or excited, but let's go. Cody finishes his preseason. Cody gave us hope in the preseason. He gave us hope that one of the worst regular seasons, super overmatched seasons, can be in the rearview mirror with an opportunity for success. That the reason the Jazz drafted Cody Williams, 6'8", long, with some athleticism, was not mistaken. Now, I'm not going to tell you that his summer league guarantees him to be an NBA player. But considering the rookie season and how frail and overmatched and psychologically beaten and almost just like, I literally thought at times we should have shut him down. That I'm soft. It was so brutal. I thought we should shut him down, right? He was airballing more often than making shots. So you take all of that and he goes to Summer League, and in Vegas, he shoots 48% from the field, which is great. This is a subtle one with Cody, but his handle and his physical presence was so poor at times last year that you felt as though all he could do was shoot a three, right? So if you get into like his end of year shooting, in January, he takes 50% of his shots as threes. December, he only played like 3 games. He took 50% of his shots as threes. November, he took 50% of his shots as threes. In October, when the year started, he took 17 of his 24 shots from threes. In March, he took 56 of 97 shots from three. I don't mind the threes, obviously. I'm big on that. But it was almost as though that's all he could get. So the fact that he took below 50% of his shots as threes, I think, was a big step. I mean, you still want him shooting threes. He took 38 of 80 shots in Vegas, 51 of 108 overall. It's still high, but it's not like it wasn't 60%, which is where we were. He shoots his twos at over 50%. It's great. He should. He's the 10th pick of a draft from 2 years ago. He should. But he should, but also last year in the NBA, his 2-point shooting was 39%. Okay, so to be over 50% against guys that are going to be G Leaguers, hey, there is a level of Summer League that if you play well in Summer League, what I just found out is you can be good in the G League. There's a little bit of that. Let's just be honest. And so maybe all we just found out about Cody Williams is you can be good in the G League. And that's not good enough. But coming off the year he just had, for him to come out, first off, the number that translates, Owen Phillips has done some good work on this, is shot attempts. So the fact that we have 2 different Vegas games with 11 3-point attempts, that we have double-digit shot attempts in every game in Vegas, and that you're shooting over 50% on your twos, as you should, because you're a 10th pick of the draft and you're 6'9" or 6'8". That's great. Those are all the things that had to happen. I like the fact that there were, every night in Vegas but one, he had more than two or more steals. Every night in Vegas but one, he had 2 or more assists. Every night in Vegas but one, he had 3 or more rebounds. There were too many feckless outings last year. His overall numbers, 48% from the field, 34% from three. Not great. That was Vegas, 33% from three, 17 of 51 in Salt Lake, including Salt Lake. Right? As a wing, he's got to be 36 plus. You really have to be 36 plus in this league now. Right? Boston won a title with 7 guys shooting 40. You've got to be 36 plus. The question then now is everything about this summer was what you need to see. If we're being totally honest, there was a chance that Cody Williams comes out and has a summer league equivalent to his regular season, and you have to go, oh, dear God, and say, and you might have to even consider like, oh, dear God, it's over, and move on. Excuse me. That was nothing I could do about that. Sorry. In addition, you got the opposite. You got 20 pounds of weight gain and commitment in the offseason, and you got the beginning of a forceful game, and you began to see all the flashes that you believed could be there out of him. None of the flashes can happen for Cody until his weight and strength are an equivalent to an NBA level, and that could be 12 months away still. Right? 190 is nice. He's really got to get to about 205, 210 probably. So I'm not sure it all happens this year, but the fact that we saw the flashes of it in the summer league means that there is now a trajectory that's the correct direction. And the trajectory was heading completely the wrong direction. He's moved the trajectory, but there's no guarantee from this. But it's really the best outcome you could possibly imagine realistically in summer league. Like if you were like, no, I wanted Cody Williams to shoot 55% and 40% from three and be this summer league MVP. That seemed to me to be a really big stretch. But Cody Williams to come into summer league and average 17, 18 points, shoot 48% from the field, 34% from three. Yeah, I like that. That's good. What I liked more was guys drove into his chest and he didn't collapse like a deck chair on the Titanic. What I liked more was that he drove to the basket, lowered his shoulder, held his ground, outstretched his long reach, and put it up off the glass and in on the exact same play that for all of last year he was falling into Never Never Land and then throwing up a prayer. That's the 2-point shooting. Again, against summer league guys. I'm always coming back to that. I did it for Flip. I'm doing it for Cody. Same game. So it's great progress. It means that Cody comes in, I think, to training camp with a real chance for rotation minutes. And trying to earn those rotation minutes. And he's going to push Bryce Sensabaugh and push Ace Bailey and push probably, as I said earlier, if Walter Clayton or Isaiah Collier suddenly don't have it in some capacity, Clayton's defense can't handle pressure, Collier's shooting, whatever there is, everyone slides down. Cody can go get some of their minutes because it's really interchangeable. This is going to be a theme. You're going to hear this from me a lot. I touched on it at the end of Friday's show. If you have a deficiency that is so significant that it derails your entire offense or defense from playing the way it needs to play, it's going to be hard for you to play. Okay? That's going to be the theme of October, November, and December, is which of these guys are able to cover up their deficiencies to a level that they can stay on the floor. Cody's was physical strength last year and inability to shoot. And Cody was such a bad shooter that he'd sit in the corner, they wouldn't guard him, and the whole offense wouldn't work. And it's going to be interesting to see which of those deficiencies our guys can play through. All right, NBA fun. 2 of these questions that I love when players get asked and answered, and I'll share their answers and the questions next. Thanks so much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen of the day. All right, I love it. Steph Curry got asked, who's the most athletic player in the NBA? I love when these players answer these questions because you just get an insight. Like it's always... like when Gary Payton used to get asked, John Stockton was the hardest to guard. Every now and then you get these super random answers. I remember I asked somebody once something and they said Kevin Willis. And he was like, you just beat the crap out of me. It was just nobody I dreaded to play more. Like I think it was, who do you dread to go up against? He was like, Kevin Willis. So Steph Curry got asked most athletic player in the league. What's your quick answer? Come on, think. Who you going with? Ja Morant. Hard to quibble. I'm a little surprised. Said Russell in his prime, but Ja Morant now. Okay. Isaiah Hartenstein got asked, who's the toughest to guard? This is just a reconfirmation of what we already know. There's nothing tricky here. He said Jokic because his passing just leaves you on the back of your heels the whole time. And then Embiid just because of his physical strength. Embiid is still probably the toughest guy in the entire NBA to guard. Two little interesting ones yesterday. I think these are important. Kevin Pelton used to say this to me all the time. Guys end up out of the league before you know it. Like guys just disappear. Like players play in the league and then they just disappear. Pelton used to talk to me about this all the time. We'll have Pelton on the show at some point. We'll see what happens with this. But Shake Milton, who's not a bad player, his career 36% three-point shooter, was a late second-round draft pick by Philadelphia. He played, I think, 4 years in Philly before getting traded, maybe even 5, and then has now played on 6 teams in the last 3 years: Minnesota, Detroit, New York, Brooklyn, and the Lakers. So that's 5 teams. So Philly, 6. Just trying to stay alive. Got cut by the Lakers yesterday. He's not bad. He's 6'5", 205, 28 years old. He was the 54th pick. He is a 36% three-point shooter in his career. And he's not going to be like a major piece of a puzzle, but he does defend. He's not a bad player. And it's just interesting that like he is hanging on for dear life right now. Like it just, we can talk about these guys all the time. It's worth kind of going back to look at guys because it just happens so fast. The Lakers also cut Jordan Goodwin, who's a 6'3", 200-pounder who, I don't know. I mean, last year shot 38% from 3 in 29 games. He's only he was non-drafted. He's not kind of in the mix of the same thing I'm talking about in regards to players. Few little NBA rumor notes that are interesting. One player, and again, this is where sometimes the rebuilding thing is a bummer because 2 things. One is like Bradley Beal goes to the Clippers and like, I want to do a psychoanalysis of what it means. And if does anything for the Clippers and this and that. And I think this one's super interesting because Bradley Beal has just not been on good teams. I think Bradley Beal has been on 2 teams in his entire career that have been in the top 10 in net rating. One of them was Phoenix 2 years ago, like while he was a disaster. So can he just be a bench player, support player, and play that role and actually be helpful? Or the fact that like every team Bradley Beal has ever been on as a bottom 10 defensive team is going to be really telling. He was supposed to be the next Ray Allen when he came out of Florida, but there's just like, you just wonder, like he just seems to have lost any winning essence. Some interesting names. Ricky Rubio's decided to stay in Europe. He's been dealing with all the mental illness issues. He's decided to stay in Europe. Ben Simmons is still out there. The Phoenix Suns, of course, are looking at him as a possibility as they just try to piece this together, which I think is an interesting one there. The Victor Oladipo is thinking about a comeback. That's an interesting one for me of whether or not that's the type of player we should actually go sign. In other words, if he actually gets good and he comes back, you could trade him, but also he's a pretty good veteran from everything I've heard and and he's working for time. We probably will have minutes and time, and he could show the younger kids how to play. Like that's an interesting scenario. Like Dame Lillard was an interesting scenario to me as well, just for leadership purposes around, not what Portland did. That made no sense to me. And then Dean Wade is going to be available from Cleveland they're going to have a hard time signing him. He's a pretty good shooter. Again, probably doesn't fit where we are on the timeline. That's the one bummer about rebuilding is you're not always looking for that next piece to the puzzle. I have got some thoughts about how Draymond just talks too much and doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to let that go for the day. It'll come out sometime this week. Here's the last one. Con Knippel has won the MVP. Here are your last Summer League MVPs. My favorite of all time is 2012. The Summer League MVP were Josh Shelby and Dame Lillard. And that kind of sums it up. So Jonas Valanciunas, Glenn Rice Jr., no NBA career, Kyle Anderson, Tyus Jones, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Brendan Clark, Cam Thomas, Davion Mitchell, Keegan Murray, Cam Whitmore, Jalen Wilson, and Con Knippel. Is Con Knippel Josh Shelby or Dame Lillard? probably more toward Dame Lillard. But in all fairness, we don't know. But he does seem like he's more of a legit player than an illegit player at this point. That is Locked on Jazz. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can follow me at DLock09 on socials. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Sometime this week, we're doing why I'm still bullish on Keyonte George. We'll look at a bunch of these rotation things throughout the week as well. We'll have a good, fun. I'm going to take you all the way through July. Leaf is going to take August. I'll be back in September. That's kind of the plan, by the way. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for following me for the last 16 years as the radio voice. Is that right? 17? 18? What was the year? Dyslexia doesn't kill. It just confuses. What was my year here? 2009. So 09-10 is my first season doing the Jazz. That leaves me with 16. This will be 17 years. No wonder I got wrinkles. Have a great one. Talk to you later. Send you the first ever 24/7 national NBA channel, and then send you check out Locked on NBA. Same show every night during the season and off season.